I'm Alpha Potterspot and welcome to week 29 of the 2018-2019 Premier League review. If you are new to this series, what we do is we take a look at the past set of Premier League results, we take a look at the Premier League table, and we finish off by looking at the top goal scorers. So here are the past set of Premier League results. These games were played on Saturday the 2nd and Sunday the 3rd of March 2019. Also next to the games are their times in this video, so if you want to hear about a specific match, just go to the time next to the game and you skip out all the other crap. But without further ado, let's get into our first match. Don't know why I came close for that, sorry. We start with Manchester United versus Southampton. Southampton took the lead 25 minutes into the match as young defender Jan Valery got the first goal of his career. What a hit as well. The ball dropped to the defender about 30 yards out. The Man United players just don't close him down, so he takes a touch and hits it goalwards. It's got a ton of power and speed on it, and despite De Gea getting two hands to it, he can't keep it out and he just helps it into the top right corner. But Manchester United levelled it up in the 53rd minute as Andreas Pereira got his first league goal for United. Another fantastic goal in this match. It's in the exact same corner as Valery's screamer, as the Brazilian had the ball a fair distance outside the box, smacks one straight towards the top corner, and the Southampton keeper has absolutely no chance as the midfielder curled it into the top right corner. And United turned the game around 5 minutes later as Romelu Lukaku put the hosts in front, from scorer to assister for Pereira as he was fouled but just about managed to stay up and touch it through to Romelu Lukaku. He then cut inside of his man and bent one low into the far corner of the net. But Southampton levelled the game up in the 74th minute as James Ward-Prowse scored another belter. If you need to make up your top 5 goal of the seasons, you've got 3 of them in this game, I reckon. It came from a free kick about 20, maybe 25 yards out, and James Ward-Prowse stood over the dead ball. No one was taking this off him as he had it right footed, curled it around the wall and into the top left corner. But Man United retook the lead in the 88th minute as Romelu Lukaku got his second of the match. Substitute Fred played the ball up towards the edge of the box where Romelu Lukaku was there to receive the ball. He turns Bednarak on the edge of the box and bent one again into that bottom right corner. And United will get the perfect chance to put the game to bed in the 93rd minute as they were given a penalty. Marcus Rashford had the ball in the middle and it's just clumsy from Stuart Armstrong and the ref pointed to the spot. Paul Pogba stepped up to take it and he tried to go down the middle following his slow run up, but despite Angus Gunn diving to his right, he managed to leave his leg trailing and deny the Frenchman from the spot. And that's how the game ended, and what a game this was. United were 3 minutes from missing out on a top 4 place this weekend, but Lukaku's brace and his 4th in 2 games got it done and sealed the points for United. Despite the loss, plenty of positives for Southampton in this match. They responded well to going behind and there's clearly plenty of fight left in this Southampton side. Southampton have a very mixed bag of games in their survival race as they take on Tottenham and Liverpool, but have some favourable fixtures including a home game against Huddersfield that will be vital if they are to stay up this season. And we move on to Burnley versus Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace took the lead 15 minutes in as Phil Bardsley put the ball into his own net. It started with Cheku Kouyaté in the middle and he laid it off to Wilfried Zaha on the right wing. He runs at his man before cutting the ball across the face of goal to Jeffrey Schlupp. Schlupp then hits it back across and there's nothing Bardsley could do as it bounces off of his thigh and into his own net. And Crystal Palace doubled their lead just 2 minutes in the second half as Michy Batshuayi got the goal. The away side worked out to the right to Aaron Wan-Bissaka and the fullback whipped in a low ball which Batshuayi was on the end of, and the Belgian swept home with a first time effort. And Crystal Palace got their 3rd in the 75th minute as Wilfried Zaha put the game beyond Burnley. He deserved this goal after a solid performance in this game as he received the ball just outside the Burnley defence, and Ric Flair will be jealous at the amount of chops in this move, cutting in and out. Ben Mee and Charlie Taylor both get sold by Zaha before he fired low past Tom Heaton from close range. But Burnley would get a goal back in the 90th minute as Ashley Barnes got the home side a mere consolation goal. Ashley Westwood had the ball on the right wing, he put it into the middle where Barnes was there to glance his header past Wayne Hennessy. And that's how the game ended as Crystal Palace put in a solid shift away from home to pick up the win against a relegation rival. The two sides went into this game level on points in what was a big game at the bottom. At the end of the first half, Burnley began to visibly show their frustration, something that only became worse once Palace doubled the lead. Palace then continued to keep it tight at the back and limited Burnley's chances. Barnes' goal was too little too late as Palace put 8 points between them and the relegation zone. And we move on to the North London derby, Tottenham versus Arsenal. In the North London derby, Arsenal took the lead in the 18th minute as Aaron Ramsey got a goal in what could possibly be his final North London derby. Tottenham were pushing far too many men forward for this, early on in the game as well. One clearance up the pitch, Davinson Sanchez misses the header just inside the Arsenal half, Lacazette collects it, slides it through to Ramsey, who was onside because he was inside the Arsenal half, and literally all 10 of Tottenham's outfield players are in the Arsenal half. They are chasing the Welshman. The future Juventus player keeps going, eventually has to hold off Victor Wanyama before going around Hugo Lloris and slotting into the empty net. I still have no idea why Tottenham were pushing this many men forward. But Tottenham would get the perfect chance to level it up in the 73rd minute as they were given a rather controversial penalty. Came from a free kick. Harry Kane is offside, so it shouldn't have been given, but there was a foul as Mustafi just shoved him in the back. Like I said, there was a foul, but he was offside, so shouldn't count. Harry Kane also stepped up to take it though, and he sent Bernd Leno the wrong way and slotted into the bottom right corner. But up the other end, Arsenal would get a penalty of their own in the 88th minute, and after the controversial penalty up one end, there's nothing controversial about this one for me. The ball was slipped through to Pierre Aubameyang in the box. Sanchez is basically ripping his shirt off, and the ref pointing to the spot. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang also stepped up to take it, but Lloris read him well, dived down to his right and kept the spot kick out. The rebound then fell to an Arsenal shirt and was put back across goal, and Aubameyang was going to make up for his miss, if not for Jan Vertonghen, who came sliding in and made a crucial block to keep the game level. I mean, let's just ignore the fact that Jan Vertonghen was basically on the penalty spot before the penalty kick was even taken. I have no idea how any official missed that. And Arsenal would have to play the final second with 10 men as Lucas Torreira was sent off. It's that stupid follow-through rule. Lucas Torreira comes in. Yes, a pretty hard challenge on Danny Rose, but he won the ball as clean as a whistle. It's such a clean tackle, but because he made contact on the follow-through, the ref gave him a straight red. It's stupid. What do you expect him to do? Physically remove his leg to avoid making any contact? It's stupid. We might as well just get rid of tackling anymore, because if you make contact, you're basically offering up a yellow card. It's stupid. It's actually stupid. And you wonder why defenders back out of challenges. That's why, because if they make a challenge and they accidentally catch somebody despite winning the ball, they're risking getting a yellow card. It's dumb. It's actually, this rule just makes me so angry. And that's how the game ended. It was a little bit of a weird North London derby. It just didn't seem to have the aggression that it normally has. Well, I say that Danny Rose should have been sent off early in the game, as he literally kicked Bernd Leno right in the heart. Both teams had more chances in the game, as Leno made a fine double save in the first half, and up the other end, Lacazette somehow missed the target from 8 yards out. There was plenty of positives for Arsenal, but the big chances they miss almost every game must be getting a bit tiresome. The result could have been a better one for Arsenal, and it could be one they look back on come the end of the season if they are to miss out on the top 4. And we move on to Watford versus Leicester. Brendan Rodgers got the worst possible start as Leicester boss, as Watford took the lead just 5 minutes in. Troy Deeney went from upset to smiling in the space of about 20 seconds as he wants an advantage, but the ref pulled it back for a foul. Gerard Deulofeu then whipped it in the middle with a ton of pace on it. It's extremely tight whether Deeney's on or off, but Deeney got in front of Wes Morgan and flicked his header backwards and above Schmeichel into the net. But Leicester levelled it up in the 75th minute as Jamie Vardy squared it up. It was their first shot on target in the game as Harry Maguire won the first ball and up to Yuri Tielemans. Tielemans literally jogs into the Watford half, no pressure on him at all, and slid a ball through to Jamie Vardy. Watford are trying to catch him offside, but the far man doesn't get up quick enough and plays him on as Ben Foster tries to come out. Vardy then dinks it over him and into the bottom left corner. But Watford won the game in the 91st minute as Andre Gray got the winner for the second game in a row. He was on the pitch for about 15 minutes and it turned out to be a fantastic sub as Troy Deeney floated the ball over the top towards his strike partner. It's a lovely first touch by Gray to take it inside the area, and with his second touch he slotted it underneath Schmeichel and into the back of the net. And that's how the game ended, with Brendan Rodgers' return to English football ending in defeat. I'm not smiling, I swear down. It was the worst possible start with Leicester going behind early, and it was a self-inflicted wound with the keeper giving the ball away. They did improve, however clear-cut chances were few and far between for Leicester. Watford needed this win after the reality check of the battering Liverpool gave them midweek, and they responded well by keeping up with their main rivals for 7th place and moved back to level points with Wolves, whereas after a 7th defeat in 10 games, Leicester find themselves in 11th. And we move on to Fulham versus Chelsea. Chelsea took the lead 20 minutes into the match as Gonzalo Higuain opened the scoring. Chelsea had the ball on the right wing. They have a 2-on-1 situation out there, and poor Joe Bryan has no chance as he tries to stand off Willian but needs some support to watch the overlapping Cesar Azpilicueta. No one does that, and Willian lays it off to Azpi. Dave then drills a ball in low towards Higuain, and the Argentine swept it home into the bottom right corner. But Fulham levelled it up in the 28th minute as Callum Chambers drew Fulham level. A corner was taken short to Ryan Babel, and it's shoddy defending from the get-go. Babel easily cuts inside to swing it towards the back post, and if you haven't, go watch this goal to see how not to defend. Literally all of the Chelsea defenders got caught under the ball and were caught ball watching, and not one single blue shirt spotted Callum Chambers completely unmarked at the back post, and he volleyed home. And when I say completely unmarked, I mean completely unmarked. But Chelsea retook the lead just a few minutes later as Jorginho got his first league goal since his Chelsea debut. A quick counter-attack from Chelsea ended up with Eden Hazard making his way towards goal from the top right corner of the box. Normally you'd expect him to cut in and out and try and place one himself, but he does well to spot Jorginho in space on the edge of the area, and the Italian placed it straight into the top right corner from outside the area. And that's how the game ended, with Fulham's caretaker manager Scott Parker starting his temporary reign with a narrow defeat. After sacking Ranieri, the Premier League strugglers were much improved but remain in deep trouble. Kepa was back in the starting lineup for Chelsea and made some great saves after a nervy start. He dropped the ball, but luckily for him, Ryan Babel wasn't on his toes and he could snap it up at the second attempt. The Spaniard kept out Joe Bryan and Tom Kearney, but for me his save to deny Alexander Mitrovic was the pick of the bunch. Chelsea were far from their best and wasted chances to put the game to bed, but in the end they were able to hold on and pick up their first away win of the year. And we move on to Wolves versus Cardiff. Wolves looked a bit nervous for the opening 10 minutes or so, but the nerves would well and truly be swept off as they took the lead through Diogo Jota. Lovely passing from Wolves, plenty of 1-2s between them, and that just pulled the Cardiff defence from pillar to post. It's just fantastic passing around the Cardiff defence, and it ended with Raul Jimenez sliding it through to Diogo Jota in a ton of space, who put it back across and past Etheridge. And 2 minutes later, Wolves doubled their lead as Raul Jimenez hit Cardiff with a quick-fire double. He started and finished the move as he pressured Sol Bamba, won the ball inside the Cardiff half, and he was away down the left. Jimenez floated it towards the back post for Diogo Jota. He can't quite get the shot away, but does manage to poke it across for his strike partner, and Jimenez was there to put it into the bottom left corner. And thus the game ended with Wolves ending a 3-match winless run over a poor Cardiff side. Despite looking quite tired for the opening 10 minutes or so, like I said, they quickly shook off those nerves and bounced back after a shock loss against Huddersfield midweek. Some poor finishing and good goalkeeping combined from Etheridge denied Wolves from extending their lead in what could have been a really bad result for Cardiff. Back-to-back wins a month ago took Cardiff out of the drop zone, but their declining form since then sees them right back in the bottom three and have put a dent in their survival chances. A win here for Wolves, though, has taken them to 43 points, which is a new Premier League record for the club. And we move on to West Ham versus Newcastle. West Ham took the lead just 6 minutes into the match as Declan Rice put the home side in front. Poor defender from a corner as Robert Snodgrass whipped the corner in. Declan Rice got free of his man. Dubravka chooses not to come for it, and the ball came to Declan Rice, who headed home from 6 yards out. And then he gun-leaned, but it was a really crap gun lean. And West Ham will get the perfect chance to double their lead in the 40th minute as they were given a penalty. Very careless from Florent Lejeune as he lunges in and catches Javier Hernandez on the ankle, and the ref pointing to the spot. Mr. West Ham stepped up to take it, and what a penalty it was from Mark Noble. Not put off by the fact he had to redo his run up, he stuck it straight into the top left corner. And that's how the game ended, with West Ham overcoming a poor Newcastle side to ease to victory. After having a great spell recently and taking massive strides to secure their Premier League future, it was like watching a completely different team to the one the last few weeks, as Newcastle offered pretty much nothing in terms of attacking play. West Ham were beat by Man City midweek but weren't swept aside, and used the defending they implemented in that game and used it here to snuff any Newcastle attack, as West Ham completed the league double over Newcastle for the first time since the turn of the millennium. And we move on to Bournemouth versus Manchester City. Despite being on top for the entire first half, Man City just could not find a way through, but they did get the goal they deserved 10 minutes into the second half as Riyad Mahrez got the goal. Charlie Daniels' interception dropped to Sergio Aguero. He teed up Riyad Mahrez on the right hand side of the area. The winger almost slices his effort, and it should be dealt with, but Boric just can't get there and will be disappointed to be beaten at his near post. And that's how the game ended, with Man City securing a second 1-0 victory in the space of 4 days. Just like the midweek game against West Ham, Man City dominated possession and pretty much every stat you can think of, but were frustrated and were forced to be patient against a resilient Bournemouth backline. After being thumped by Arsenal midweek, Bournemouth had a clear plan: sit back and make sure that didn't happen again. The plan worked though perfectly in the first half, but the toughness was inevitably broken as Man City came away with the win to put the pressure on Liverpool before the Merseyside derby. And we move on to Brighton versus Huddersfield. A very even game this one. Brighton would have came into this expecting a win against the bottom side, but they were being frustrated, but they got the goal they needed 10 minutes from time as Florent Andone released some of the pressure around the Brighton fanbase. Jose Izquierdo just came on and fed the ball to Anthony Knockaert on the left. He then dinked it across to Andone. He got in front of his man and glanced his header into the right hand side of the net. And as the game ended, the side at the bottom of the table had a good first half and were the better side for the majority of the first 45, but after the break, just something seemed to change and Huddersfield faded badly against the Brighton side, who looked completely different in the second half. It all came after Johan Bash hit the bar for Brighton, and then after that, they seemed to click and really go for it. After ending a 14-match unbeaten streak midweek, it was back to normal for Huddersfield as Brighton came away with the win. Why does my voice keep breaking? Hoo, hoo, ha, ha. And finally, we've got the Merseyside derby, Everton versus Liverpool. I'll tell you what, the Merseyside derbies are getting worse. What a rubbish game. It was that bad. I tried to do reactions to them and legit fell asleep for a majority of the second half. I would play a clip, but I deleted it. But that is 100% true, and I will pay anyone money if they disagree. It is 100% true. From what I saw when I was awake, Liverpool just couldn't find the final ball. Some of the touches were off, but Liverpool did have the best chance as Mo Salah broke free, but took one too many touches, and that allowed Pickford to read him and save it. Everton celebrated the draw like it was a World Cup final and bringing that back from Marco Silva. As you'd expect, they might have just stopped Liverpool from winning the league. As Liverpool dropped points as the title race took another twist. Hopefully not the final twist. I want it to go to the wire. Final day. I want another Aguero moment. That'd be class. Right, so that's all the games I've got for this time. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorers, starting off with the Premier League table. Starting with the top 5, and as you can see, Man City are back on the top after beating Bournemouth. Liverpool dropped to second after a goalless Merseyside derby. Tottenham are third after drawing in the North London derby. Man United are fourth after coming out on top against Southampton, and Arsenal make it the top 5 after the draw with Tottenham. Moving on to the bottom 5, and Huddersfield are on the bottom after a narrow loss to Brighton. Fulham are 19th after losing to their London neighbours Chelsea. Cardiff are 18th after being beat by Wolves. Southampton are 17th after being on the losing end of the great game against Man United. And Burnley make up the bottom 5 after losing to Crystal Palace. Moving on to the top goal scorers, and as you can see, Sergio Aguero is on the top on 18 goals and 6 assists. Mo Salah is second on 17 goals and 7 assists. Joint third are the North London rivals, as Pierre Aubameyang and Harry Kane are both on 16 goals and 4 assists. And making up the top 5 is Sadio Mane on 14 goals and 1 assist. You might have noticed I've just flew through the top goal scorers. That's because only one of them scored this week. Right, so that's all I've got for this time. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back next Tuesday at 4 PM for the next episode of the Premier League review. If you want to stay up to date about anything we do, it would be best to follow us on Twitter. The link to that is in the description, or it's at portionofsport_. If you missed the last episode, that'll be on the right hand side of the outro screen, and a link to the channel will be on the left if you feel like subscribing. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you are new, I've been Mark from A Portion of Sport, and I will see you soon. My mama calls, see you on TV, sunset shit done try.